the scent of potpourri, the films we commit to memory. Crossing the felt ropes, watching from home on my TV, looking at all my eyes can see. They tell me I view obsessively.
Hello and welcome to The Obsessive Viewer, a weekly podcast reviewing 2 new or recent released titles every episode with an occasional free-for-all segment at the end that we call Potpourri. I'm your host, Matt Hurt, and you can find more of my work, including my written reviews, full episode show notes, and the complete backlog of our episodes and spinoff podcasts at obsessiveviewer.com. You can also follow me on Letterboxd and other social media platforms at the username of Obsessive Viewer. And if you'd like to support us and get access to hundreds of exclusive episodes, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/Obsessive Viewer. Recently on Patreon, just this weekend, I posted my immediate reaction review of Mercy. And I also shared an aptly timed 19-minute long rundown of my thoughts, my immediate thoughts on the news that Mike Flanagan is going to be remaking The Mist for Warner Brothers. I'm also still plugging away at the Gotham Project, where I'm reviewing anything and everything Batman related. I recently did the 2019 Batman Hush animated film. That was this week, I think, and then next week, I don't remember what's coming out next week, but yeah, that's still plugging along at Patreon. Once again, you can sign up at patreon.com/obsessiveviewer for all of that and a bunch more content. And if you want to support me without messing around with Patreon, you can always buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/obsessiveviewer. So later in the show, we are going to be reviewing the new film from Sam Raimi, Send Help, in this week's secondary review. But before that, we're going to go over some movie news and Indianapolis screenings before reviewing Gore Verbinski's Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die in this week's feature review. And I'm very excited because basically the episode title for this episode is Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die, and Send Help. So joining me this week for these reviews is my friend and IFJ colleague, whose work can be found at awakeinthedark.com, and he can be followed on Letterboxd at the handle of Awake in the Dark. It's Brent Leuthold. Hello, Brent. Welcome back to the show. How is it going?
It's going great. Yeah, if you're listening to this episode so far, it's okay. If this is the first one you open after the apocalypse, they're just the names of the movies. It's not a hidden distress code.
Yes.
At least I don't think so. I don't know. You're the one that played the episode, so I'm not sure. But,
right. And if
I'm doing well.
Nice. Good. And if you're watching the video version of this, we are not blinking.
Yeah, Morse code, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So. Yeah, well, welcome to the show, man. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy Sunday. I don't know if you're busy this Sunday or not, but your Sunday afternoon to record with me. It's greatly appreciated.
Football's over, so Sundays are not busy for me anymore.
No, yeah. The the footballs and stuff. Did you? Okay, I didn't watch the Super Bowl, but did you? Were there any highlights in terms of trailers and TV spots for? Because I think I read that they kind of toned down the movie trailer stuff for the commercials. Any comments on that, Brent?
They did one for Mandalorian and Grogu, but it was not like a traditional. It was one they made like specifically for like the Super Bowl, so it was like a little cutesy. I think they were almost doing like a play on like. I don't know exactly, but maybe like the Coca-Cola one with like the Bears or something, or I don't know, or not the Bears anyway, or the Clydesdales. That's what it was, sort of. So they kind of made one for it. It didn't really have much like new footage or anything. That was kind of cute. Oh God, there were several that I think people were more. It was more like what wasn't shown, because I know people were really excited for like Doomsday. The Avengers one. There was not the spot for that, or like. Doing Messiahs at the end of the year, nothing for that. I think those are still kind of relatively too early in production, post or whatever, for trailers at this point. Well, I guess technically Doomsday has like 4 teasers or whatever, but like an actual glimpse of what the movie's going to be like. So yeah, Disclosure Day, they had one that I gotta be honest, I don't even know if it was like a new one. I also, since I don't watch like a lot of trailers or spots, sometimes I don't have much of a reference of like what's new in terms of like
That's fair.
footage or whatever and what's not. The Disclosure Day one seemed like pretty similar to what they had already kind of revealed in the trailer.
Okay.
But it was good. There was a Super Mario one Galaxy, because that's coming out like in early May.
That's right.
I probably just have to look at the like release calendar and see. But I think probably like some of the big like summer ones that again I probably should know off the top of my head, but don't were there. But yeah, I didn't see anything that I was like, oh my God, that looks terrible or whatever.
Right.
I don't have this thing of, I'm not in marketing, so like I don't I think kind of a thing that's like, I think people every year are like, the commercials were underwhelming. And then I think with that, since like Super Bowl is really the closest thing the last vestige of monoculture that we have, you know, like the halftime show is like another part, because it's like anything to talk about besides like the two teams, because there really wasn't much to talk about between Seattle and New England. Like Seattle just kind of smacked the crap out of them. Fourth quarter was kind of interesting, but that's about it. But this was like all this other stuff like in the periphery. And for me, it's like, I have my bar is so low with commercials. Like if one basically makes me go, oh, that was cute, like that was clever, then like we've won. For me, I mean, for me anyway.
Okay.
It's just so kind of, the bar is so close to the ground that I don't really care that much. I'm not just talking about like movie trailers, but just like, you know, there was really only one that was annoying to me, and that was the Backstreet's Back karaoke thing for whatever crypto one, because it was so lazy in Millennia Nostalgia. Did you see that or hear about that after?
I heard whispers about it, but I don't know the context or anything.
So I can sum it up for you. This is what someone pitched in an ad room in a boardroom 3 months ago, probably. It was literally just karaoke to the pre-chorus and chorus to Backstreet's Everybody, parentheses, Backstreet's Back, literally like a blue screen and just the music playing behind it. And then at the end of it, it was like the name of whatever the company was, which I don't remember, so I guess they failed, or whatever, like crypto thing or whatever AI crap, like whatever. I don't even remember what the product was, but it was so like nothing. It was nothing. It was literally like, let's just hope that there'll be enough drunk millennials watching this, and will think they're at a karaoke bar for 30 seconds. I mean, I guess in that sense, maybe it quote unquote worked, but I thought it was so just lazy. I mean, they did I think T-Mobile did a commercial that actually had the Backstreet Boys in it, like all 5 of them. And they're, plugging T-Mobile phones and whatever, and that's fine. Like, that's a commercial. I understand what that is. Like, and okay, they got them all together. Who cares? And whatever. But like, you look at something like that, you're like, well, at least they did something, and they got paid, and they paid, for the set for this thing that I don't really care about. But like, for them to literally just have 30 seconds of a karaoke,
that is insane.
It's so late. It's just monumentally lazy. I just can't. Yeah. It's like, I think last year or 2 years ago, they had just like a QR code for 30 seconds.
Jeez.
I mean, to me, I'm just like, listen, guys, fellas, and ladies, maybe. My bar is super, super, super low. Like, just don't, like, pretty much if you hired any actors and did any kind of set, or, and had even a germ of an idea, then it'll at least be in my, what I think is pretty wide range of like, okay, I don't care. Like, that's fine.
Sure. Wow.
But that one dipped right outside of that zone. And I was just like, this sucks. I actively don't like this. Anyway. So
that's insane. Especially when.
Anyway, that's, I guess, my feeling.
That's insane. Especially when, it's, maybe this is just the state of advertising at this point, and, the television versus streaming and all that, like the ratings and everything. But like, Super Bowl ad space is notoriously like incredibly expensive, and
Right.
just the fact that someone would do that for that low effort is mind-boggling to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
And of
But
course,
everything else was in a wide spectrum of,
sure.
it's a commercial, it's fine. Like, I don't really care about it. I think
Right.
there was only maybe one or two that that maybe registered as like AI to me, but I didn't
Mm.
really, again, I try not to give that stuff too much credence. I don't even want to have
Yeah.
outrage about that. I just want
Mhm.
to ignore it.
Yeah, I have gotten to the point where I have seen, like, on TikTok and stuff, I'll be scrolling and I'll see like advertised, like, sponsored TikToks that's like for some bit like insurance or for some kind of business or whatever, but it's clearly like the video is like an AI generated person talking.
Hmm.
And I will go and just block that TikTok account.
Sure. Yeah.
Because I don't want to bother with that. And it's sad too, and we'll get into like the episode and everything, but it's sad too because like there was there's like this song that popped up on TikTok, like this guy who does music, and he was promoting a new song, and it sounded really good. It's like Midwestern emo kind of sound, and it's kind of politically charged, politically motivated and stuff. And I'll shout out the guy's name, Last July, but it's on TikTok. But like he promoted the new song, and like it said like AI generated content, or AI, like it was labeled that at the bottom by TikTok. And like it's probably because like the background he chose probably used some AI or something, or something in the design did. But I kept thinking like, wait, am I getting honeypotted, is that the word? By like an AI musician, because I don't know this person or anything. So like I had to go through, like I went through that TikTok account and went back to like, but like months ago, and I saw like, oh, it's a human being. A human being is speaking into the camera and talking about his music and stuff. But even then, I was like, does his voice actually match the song? Like, and I'm like, I hate that I'm getting conspiratorial with that kind of thing. Um,
I mean, I get it. I mean,
yeah,
I don't, I'm not on TikTok, but like even just Spotify, like just stuff that could be recommended or will even be on like a playlist or whatever. I feel like
yeah.
they clearly don't, you know, they just, and same with YouTube. I mean, they're just,
Mhm.
whatever safeguards are there, I don't think are very strong. And
Yeah.
so you can definitely be listening. You could be listening to AI music, especially with autoplay and stuff, where it's just like, which I don't have
Yeah.
autoplay on my Spotify typically, although I do on my TV because you can't disable it. I can't. There's a
Oh.
for tvOS, they have not figured that out correctly, where you can
Okay.
disable autoplay. But typically for every other format for like my phone and desktop and all that, I have autoplay turned off. But like, yeah, like if I go to an artist and like, and of course, this isn't even, I mean, this isn't even foolproof, but like, if it's just like an image of something, like some kind of art or something, I'm like, oh man, like, what have I done? And it's just like,
Right.
I mean, it could even be a group of 4 dudes or whatever, like a band or like a, one like female, like if it's like a singer or something. And it's like, yeah, you don't know. It could be like AI generated and all that. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
it sucks. I mean, I think these tech companies are either going to crack down on this and delineate and say, this is what is real content, this is what is AI content,
Mhm.
or they won't. I don't, at this point, see anything that would, other than people getting upset.
Mhm.
I don't think they're not beholden to anything. There's no kind of real
Right.
legislation, I don't think, and probably won't
Yeah.
be any meaningful legislation for the next 5-10 years that will
Right.
really mandate them to make that clear. So I don't think it really, unfortunately, I don't think it is conspiratorial thinking
Yeah.
anymore. It's just kind of, we have to vet art so much harder now.
Yeah. Yep.
I guess you don't have to,
Mhm.
but
But it's good
that
practice
sucks
too.
if you don't. I mean, that sucks
Yeah.
if it's like slippery slope and it's just like, I don't care anymore. I don't care who makes
Yeah.
whatever. And then,
Oh, yeah.
then we slowly die. So,
Yep. Yep. Yeah, and well, like I found this really great TikToker that's just like the username is like Al 53972576321, and it's just very like cool and robot. I'm kidding. This is nothing. But anyway,
All of those other owls were taken before that number. Yeah. All the other ones. Yeah.
But something that doesn't have AI incorporated into it is awakeinthedark.com, your website where you post your movie reviews. Recently, you reviewed the new Dracula movie, Night Patrol, and Dead Man's Wire. How do you feel about those movies? And what can we see coming down the pike at awakeinthedark.com?
I'm usually more optimistic about like the beginning of the year, but I didn't like any of those three movies to varying degree. I mean, Dracula, I maybe like the most of the three. This is Luc Besson's Dracula, not the Rado Jude one. That were both technically released last year. Two very different movies entirely, two very different Dracula takes. But yeah, it was fine. Yeah, Caleb Landry Jones is his Dracula. Yeah, like it had some fun scenes, like some cool ideas in there. But yeah, it's just kind of like, you know, the new Wuthering Heights. It's like you kind of have to do something really different, like to be able to distinguish yourself from the pack. Now, Dracula has been, I think, iterated on screen more times than Wuthering Heights. I'll give it that. But anyway, two actually romances. Actually, that's one thing I'll say about this Dracula, Luc Besson's Dracula, is like it is definitely like a focus is on the romance more than the like monster or like horror aspects of it. So
interesting.
So yeah, the other two, Dead Man's Wire and Night Patrol were just not good. But it's the other year.
Yeah, that is true. And are you reviewing Wuthering Heights this week?
Yeah, Wuthering Heights, and then God, I already forget something else. Oh, How to Make a Killing.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Okay. That's gonna be the mystery movie tomorrow.
Nice.
And screen unseen at AMC and Regal. So
go to that. We'll see. I don't know. I make a lot of plans and then I don't do them.
Yeah, I mean, it's coming out later this week. So, I mean, it's basically a 4-day advance. I don't even typically go to those if it's that close to the actual release. But I have other stuff to catch up on, and I'm going to Austin, not this coming week, but the week after. So,
oh, nice.
Anyway.
I assume for good stuff or just work?
For work, yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, it's our sales kickoff.
Nice. Ah, nice.
Yeah. If you see me texting you woo and like a lot of things with exclamation points, it's that I'm excited about our new fiscal year. And nice. I want you to know about it.
Good. I fully anticipate, since you're going to be in Austin, you'll send videos of you riding mechanical bulls and wearing 10-gallon hats, I guess. I don't know, any other kind of cliche Texas stuff.
Yeah, last time I was there, like over 6 years ago, I didn't ride a mechanical bull, but I did wear a cowboy hat and had barbecue, and so nice. We're probably going to be doing at least some of that, I would think. So
nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to be here in Indianapolis, and speaking of here in Indianapolis, I'm actually really proud of that segue that I just ruined by calling attention to it. Playing this week in Indy, let's talk about some of the stuff that's coming up. I only have a couple of things, of course. As usual, at the Alamo Drafthouse on the first and third Sunday of each month, they have movie trivia hosted by our friend and IFJ colleague Lou Harry. That is happening today, so you guys aren't going to be able to go to it because this isn't being posted today. But here in a couple of weeks, in the first Sunday of March, they're going to have it again. Go check it out. Really great, very, very good trivia experience. I went with our friend Joe and his fiance a month or so ago, and we won. And I got a free movie pass, which I might use this week because on Friday they're showing Boys in the Hood, which I've never seen. So they've got that, and then on Saturday they're showing Harold and Maude, which that's what's coming up at Alamo. And over at Can this Thursday they're showing Popstar Never Stop Never Stopping, which I adore that movie so much. So that's over at Can on this Thursday, February 19th. yeah, I'm excited for all of the stuff that's going on in Indy. Of course, check the show notes for links to these theaters and other theaters around the city, and go support them if you can. It's a great time to be a fan of movies in the Indianapolis area. Also, at the Artcraft Theater on March 7th, I believe, they're doing the Heartland Best of the Fest thing, which they're going to be running throughout, I think, a couple of weekends, I think. But on March 7th, they're showing the Tenderness Tour, which I interviewed Andy Redwine and, oh my God, Richard Probst, our friend and colleague from the IFJ, who is the subject of it. Go check it out if you can. It is an incredible documentary, and the Artcraft is an incredible theater, so check that out. Brent, any thoughts on that from your home in Fort Wayne, Indiana?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds good. Harold and Maude, I assume they're showing because Bud Cort, who plays Harold, just recently passed. And then Popstar, that came out 10 years ago. It would be so funny if like one of the producers, one of the Lonely Island guys, just like showed up, like Yorma or whatever, and was just like, why did you guys not show up 10 years ago? Because that movie like bombed like at the box office. So it's like, if it's like a full theater, it's like, where were you guys 10 years ago? But box office, that's not the prize. It's the it's the longevity and the cultural relevance. So so yeah, that'd be a fun one to watch with a crowd for sure.
Yeah, and I'm proud to say that I contributed to the box office at Popstar Never Stop, Never Stopping, and also I reviewed it here on the podcast, I believe. So I did my part.
I don't think I saw it in theaters, sadly.
Wow.
But I think I saw it pretty soon. I probably saw it in 2016. I think I just like rented it, but I don't remember seeing it in theaters. But yeah, that's a good one.
Interesting. Yes, it is very good. I love it. So I've got some news before the reviews, before we get to our feature review of Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. I've got a few things. First, you already referenced Bud Cort passed away. I've seen Harold and Maude once, and I liked it. I should probably revisit it at some point. But any thoughts on Bud Cort passing away? I don't know.
I don't know any of his other work really besides Harold and Maude. I mean, that was such a great young performance. I mean, you kind of see echoes of that, and I feel like Rushmore, especially. I feel like movie. I feel like Rushmore doesn't happen without like Harold and Maude. And even stuff like the Holdovers too. I feel like there's certain kind of like I don't know, like. So I feel like that performance, even specifically, but of course, the movie generally is definitely a big kind of. I guess cult classic. I don't know. I think people like. I don't know how it did box office wise, like at the time, but I think it's one of those titles that, I've just seen pop up like throughout the years. I think people know that movie. So, but yeah, I don't know his work besides a really brief Arrested Development bit.
How I was going to reference
Bud Cort. Yeah. He was interested in that. Those are like sadly like the only two things I really know him from. So yeah, with a wide gap of time in between those things. So.
Right. He, I believe, he appeared in a made-for-TV. It might have been a pilot. For Bates Motel. He played Norman Bates in what I think was a pilot for a TV show version of Bates Motel, like in the 80s. But that it never went. And then eventually we got Bates Motel within the last 10 years or so. But anyway, so rest in peace to Bud Cort. Also, we've got like this is a downer of a news section, but Catherine O'Hara and James Van Der Beek both passed away. I really need to watch Schitt's Creek, but Catherine O'Hara is amazing. She's fantastic. Obviously iconic in Home Alone, and several other things. How did you feel about her sudden passing?
Yeah, it was unexpected. I don't know that she had made that public. I think it was like a very brief. I forget exactly what I think it was a pulmonary embolism, something like that. So yeah, I mean, terrible news. I was definitely surprised when I read it. I know she was in her 70s, but yeah, I mean, terrific. Schitt's Creek was, I think, what I had seen her in maybe most recently. Although when she passed, I had posted a I was just kind of looking through YouTube, and there's that scene in the second season, the first episode of The Last of Us, where she is, you know, they have this, it's Joel and her, and it's like these like therapy scenes, and like it's her job, but it's also like they're in like this apocalypse thing, so like she's doing her best, but he's really kind of testing her by being stubborn, being who he is and the character, and she kind of makes a breakthrough with him. It's a really great scene. She's, you know, just kind of in a part of it. That's kind of how that show goes. It has like these really, really talented folks who are kind of just in it for certain stretches of it effectively. So she was great in that. Yeah. I mean, God, Schitt's Creek is, as you had mentioned, what I had watched, after her passing was, the kind of 4 Christopher Guest movies that I think are maybe the most well-known, I guess, at least ones that like he directed: Waiting for Guffman, Best in Show, A Mighty Wind, and For Your Consideration, which For Your Consideration I still haven't seen. I need to see that one. But we rewatched Waiting for Guffman and Best in Show, which I love those movies, especially like Best in Show it's on my Letterboxd favorite 4 right now. Like I think that's kind of incredible. Like, I think it's like, I don't know if it's the perfect comedy, but I think it is a perfect comedy. Yeah. I think it's kind of like, man, I don't know between that or Spinal Tap. It doesn't matter, but like, I think they are both like just sterling examples of like the mockumentary format, and just absolutely hilarious. So yeah, she's done a ton of stuff, but those were just ones that I went back and I mean, yeah, she's so good in both of those. But yeah, Best in Show especially. That thing she does with her knee where she like dislocates her knee or whatever, and she can't, you know, show their dog at the like, I don't know how she did that. Like, it seems like a kind of almost like a pratfall, but like the way she like buckles it, like it seems like she's really gonna like actually mess up her knee. And I don't know how she did that. It's like but it's so funny, like her trying to walk on it, and it's just so wobbly. So yeah, she's brilliant, and yeah, definitely will miss her.
Yeah, same here. And of course James Van Der Beek also passed away, and that, you know, it's kind of interesting that somewhat hit me sort of hard a little bit, because I've talked a lot about how Scream was a formative movie for me. It made me want to love movies and everything. It really just lit that fire for me. And Kevin Williamson, 2 years later, created Dawson's Creek, and he made that show based a lot on his life and his childhood and everything. And of course, James Van Der Beek played Dawson Leary. And I remember when I was a kid, like when that show was on, I watched it and I loved it. Like, I legitimately loved it. The way I put it was that there was something about watching 20-year-olds playing 15-year-olds who speak like 30-year-olds that really spoke to my 12-year-old brain. And like, that sums it up pretty well, because that show is it's this interesting just like view of teen drama through like this incredibly articulate lens that is so self-aware without being satirizing or anything like that. But like a couple of days ago, I decided to just rewatch the first couple of episodes, and I thought maybe I'll give the whole series a run, but I don't know if I will or not. But while watching the first 2 episodes, I was struck by the first episode being, by all accounts, one of the stronger pilot episodes of a TV show I've maybe ever seen. Like, it's really, really well done. the thing that I found so fascinating about it, watching it as an adult and compared to when I watched it as a kid, because when I watched it when I was like 12, it was like, oh, okay, I don't know anything about, teenagers or anything. I don't know what their experience is like or anything. I assume that this is what it's really like. And then as I kind of grew up watching it and everything, I kept thinking like, man, Dawson is such a piece of shit. Like, I cannot stand this guy at all. Like, he is so up his ass. Like, he's just so irritating. And watching it now as an adult, I find the writing so incredibly like well done in that first episode in particular, because Dawson Leary is a character who lives with this idyllic family life. His parents are very much in love with each other. He doesn't have anything to really complain about or anything. Like, he doesn't have like any drama in his life or anything. But he has this affection for movies, and he is obsessed with like Steven Spielberg, and he views everything through the lens of plot and narrative and drama through film. And because of that, as he's entering into, puberty and adolescence and everything, he's trying to find that drama. And he's called out on it by Joey numerous times in that first episode, just saying like, you have this perfect life, where she like is from the other side of the creek, where like her father's in prison, her mother's dead, her sister is pregnant out of wedlock and stuff like that. She had like, they have to like survive for themselves. So like, she is she takes somewhat of offense to Dawson, like trying to find like this drama in his life. Like, he's watching his mother's newscast and saying like, the way that she says that to her co-anchor, like, do you think they're sleeping together? And spoiler alert, they are. But it's such a really well constructed pilot episode, because not only that, but there's a scene where Dawson, who is a sophomore, he's 15, he's like 21 in the show, but in real life at the time, but he goes to like the film class teacher, and like 12 to 15-year-old me would have been like, oh my God, he's such an asshole, because Dawson goes in there and he's like, yeah, there's been a mix up. I wasn't accepted into your film lab, and I'm passionate about film and everything, so I deserved, like, basically saying like, I deserve to be put in it because I'm going to be a prodigy and everything. And the teacher's just like, well, no, that's there's a long wait list that's reserved for upperclassmen. You can try again next year. And he's like, well, that's stupid. And like, he's very obnoxious about it. And it's just like, dude, fucking get in the class next year. Like, it's fine. But what I'm getting at is like, the writing is so on point with that just self-centeredness that kids have and teenagers have, that every problem is like the world crashing around them. And it's just such an interestingly written and performed pilot episode. So, so Dawson's Creek, good stuff. Yeah, it's on Hulu, as is Schitt's Creek, by the way. But yeah, R.I.P. to James Van Der Beek. Any thoughts on James Van Der Beek's passing, Brent?
Yeah, it was definitely, it was not quite as unexpected, because I knew that he had cancer, and I think there was a Dawson's Creek, reunion sometime last year, and he wasn't able to attend. So like, I think I heard some headlines about that. I didn't know really where he was, and in terms of where the cancer was, whether it was in remission or not. But it was sad. I mean, 48, way, just too young, and especially that sort of happens too. When Dawson's Creek was such a a breakout for him. Obviously, he was able to secure a number of kind of like movie roles, like kind of during it and after that, and all of that. So, yeah, it's crazy that to me, that when I like thought, I was like 48, like that seems like so young, because it seems like he's been with us for pretty much like since the late 90s.
Yeah.
So yeah, sad. I have not seen Dawson's Creek. I think the first thing I saw him in was The Rules of Attraction, which is kind of a crazy first movie to see him in. I think I'd seen like maybe Varsity Blues maybe afterwards. sometime after that. But yeah, that I think I'm almost positive was one that he picked as sort of. I mean, I assumed, I guess, at the time as more of a counter programming to how he was on Dawson, although it sounds like he's kind of an arrogant POS on that show a little bit sometimes too. He definitely is in Rules of Attraction, as is everyone in that movie. Jessica Biel's in it too, and at that point, that was like shortly after Seventh Heaven, or maybe from during it. So that was another one where she was really trying to go against hype and snorting cocaine and newest bleeds and that sort of thing. So it was, I think that was for a few different people. It was sort of like them trying to break out of the sort of like squeaky clean teen roles. So he's really good in that movie. You hate him, but that's a tough one. I struggled with that movie for a little while because it's so mean. Like everyone is such a dick in it, and they're all college students, and they're all like they're all doing drugs. They're all like rich and entitled, and like it seems like there are going to be no real consequences for any of them, and they just treat everyone with contempt and so it's like it's a kind of a hard sell from that perspective, but it's very darkly funny. So but he's the one I talk about all the time for James Van Der Beek is Don't Trust the Bee on Apartment 23, which was a short-lived sitcom, I think on ABC. It lasted for 2 seasons, and he's playing himself, and this was in I think like it was 20 like 12 or 13, something like that. So it was a number of years after, of course, Dawson's Creek, but also some of the other movies that he did after that. And just a really fun like meta role about like what these celebrities who are they're not in their 20s or 30s anymore, like or maybe in their 30s, like late 30s, like where the roles aren't coming in as much. So kind of like he a lot of like the B plots in that show were like him trying to like, for instance, get on like Dancing with the Stars or whatever, and he's like, this person's killing me, like trying to like fight with these other sort of celebrities. So I thought that was a really fun sort of meta role for him. And I miss him. It's like, again, 48 is it's just too young.
Way too young. It is a bummer. I want to just mention really quick, there was a movie from 2005 called Standing Still that James Van Der Beek was in. Have you heard of this movie at all?
No, I don't think so.
So it is streaming, I believe, on Tubi, but from what I remember, like it wasn't produced by, but it was like distributed by Blockbuster. I think it was released like as like a DVD, like Blockbuster exclusive, like DVD. And I worked at Blockbuster at the time, so I rented it. But it's a small movie. It's a popular yet drunken actor reconnects with a group of his college friends for a wedding several years after graduation. So it's like one of those like single day, coming of age, young adult kind of movies. But I mean, the cast is amazing. It's got James Van Der Beek, Amy Adams, Aaron Stanford, Xander Berkeley, Ethan Embry, Colin Hanks, Mina Suvari, just a whole bunch of people in this movie. And I remember thinking it was pretty good, but I don't remember much about it. So I just wanted to shout that out. It's on Tubi. It's called Standing Still.
Yeah, check that out. That's that's a pretty crazy cast.
Yep. And I believe James Van Der Beek plays the actor who returns after many years or something like that. So that is it for news before the reviews. Do you want to get into our feature review of the evening for Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, nice. So, of course, links to all of this stuff is going to be in the show notes of this episode. And we're going to get into our feature review of the week. This week's feature review is Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. Of course, we're going to do a non-spoiler review followed by a spoiler review. When we switch over to spoilers, I'll play a clip from the trailer to separate it out. But if you want to navigate around it, check the show notes for timestamps for the other sections of the podcast. So, Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die is currently in theaters. It was released on February 13th. 2026. And the premise, according to IMDb, is a man from the future arrives at a diner in Los Angeles where he must recruit the precise combination of disgruntled patrons to join him on a one-night quest to save the world from the terminal threat of a rogue artificial intelligence. Director was Gore Verbinski, writer was Matthew Robinson, and the cast includes Sam Rockwell, Zazie Beetz, Haley Lou Richardson, Michael Pena, Steve Mark, and Juno Temple. So, Brent, let's get into our review. Non-spoiler thoughts. Good luck, have fun, don't die. How'd you feel about this movie?
I liked it. I really didn't go in with too much in the way of expectations. We had seen, I think, a trailer before Darkman, which we went to last month for Sam's birthday, and I was like, all right, well, that looks kind of wild and sort of fun. So I had seen a trailer before it, and but other than that, I didn't really have much in the way of expectations, and I thought it was quite a bit of fun. It's definitely a genre mashup. You're definitely getting like some sci-fi in there. You're getting some like sort of like an adventure sort of movie, sort of like a gang of like misfits like sort of coming together type of thing. Definitely like some comedy. I'd say satire, dark comedy for sure. So. And it's again all in this package that I think is it's the kind of movie where I feel like the sort of main character is a good sort of representation of how the movie feels, which is just sort of like wild-eyed and sort of like manic, which kind of as you mentioned is Sam Rockwell's character, who I don't think has a name technically, just man from the future, who comes to this diner and says like, I'm from the future, this all goes horribly wrong, and you have to believe me and all this stuff. And it's sort of, the whole movie sort of has that sort of energy where it's just like, I don't care if you believe me or not, we just gotta go,
Yeah.
And so that was one of the things I really liked about this. This is Gore Verbinski's first movie I think he's directed since A Cure for Wellness, which came out like 9 years ago. So I'm not sure exactly what he's been up to, but I think it's a weird thing. Like, I miss Gore Verbinski, and I don't really have any like strong feelings about him. He of course directed the original Pirates of the Caribbean trilogy, which I generally like those. I don't really care for At World's End, but I also haven't seen them in like 20 years. So that is what it is. Rango I've always really thought was awesome and very like a really neat, like, okay, I got the cash now and I'm gonna like just make my own like stop motion. Well, not stop motion, it's animated, but he like shot it on with like stop motion for the actors basically, and like animated it from there. Anyway, I'm not explaining that well, but you can look it up and see what I'm talking about. But but anyway, but like I didn't see like the Lone Ranger or I'm trying to think some of his other ones anyway. But again, this is sort of, it's like the return of a director that I didn't know I missed, basically, is I think that's kind of what this movie sort of signaled to me. So yeah, a lot of fun.
That's a really good way to put it. I'm kind of just, I've never really been like a big Gore Verbinski stan by any stretch, but like, I mean, like the first Pirates of the Caribbean is fantastic. Like, I remember seeing that in the theater and thinking like, this is like, it was one of those movies that I went in with zero expectations. It was when I was working at the movie theater and I was like, oh, okay, I can see a movie for free. I'm going to see Pirates of the Caribbean. I think that was the case. But I saw it and I was like, oh my God, this is really, really good. This is so much fun. And I really love that he still has that energy with Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. Like, having this movie have that frenetic, like you said, kind of manic energy of that's a combination of the fear and heralding of like the end of the world, essentially, matched with just the, oh my God, I have to fucking do this again, sort of like time loop, like not necessarily time loop, but troubleshooting and just doing
like
it over and over.
Or Groundhog Day, which is referenced in this at one point.
Exactly. And it's all captured so well in Sam Rockwell's performance. He is like, he really drives this movie in such a, again, frenetic, sort of just energetic way that feels just so appropriate for his skill set as an actor and the movie as a whole. And to kind of dig into the story a little bit more, it does kind of not necessarily lose its appeal, but it does kind of venture into some more serious sort of stretches of drama throughout it that I just felt like it didn't really mesh well with that energetic beginning and that carried through. So some of the more dramatic like stuff felt a little bit unearned, and it leads to some places that's like kind of expected and kind of just like, okay, we're kind of going through the motions of this type of story. So it did lose some points for me on that front, but overall, like, that, just the energy, the harriedness of it, and also the way that the man from the future, Sam Rockwell, has like this knowledge of everything going on, and he's not necessarily imparting that knowledge on everyone in the most direct way because he's done it so many times and he doesn't need to, is a really good, like, organic way to just kind of keep the tension up and also keep it entertaining enough to follow throughout the rest of the movie. So those are some broad thoughts on Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die.
Yeah, I think the energy, when I say like kind of like it being sort of like manic or frantic, like
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't always apply to the pacing, because I do think some of the pacing like does sort of drag. So more specifically, I think this is probably what you're referring to, that we basically get sort of vignettes, like 15-20 minute like backstories on a few of the patrons, like of the diner that he sort of recruits. And they do fit into the narrative. It's not just like character development. It is that, but it's also like parts. I described this on my letterbox as like Looper with basically like British era Black Mirror episodes, like mini episodes, like 15-20 minutes sort of like dropped in. It worked for me once I realized that's what it was doing. But I could totally see where that would really like kill the momentum for folks too with this. So I'm kind of two minds about it, but I sort of just went by the second one, which I think is my favorite, which is the one that's around Juno Temple, which we'll talk about. That one's just like that part of that, like that backstory, I think is my favorite.
Nice.
And we'll talk about what goes into that and all that. But anyway, but I could see that definitely being kind of a bummer, because it's definitely kind of it's a deliberate choice in terms of how he's telling the story. I could see a leaner version of this movie and still probably working about as well. But yeah.
You know what's really interesting is I wasn't referring to those vignettes.
Well, there you go. I just told myself.
It's really interesting because I was actually kind of into those. I was talking more about some of the stuff in the future stuff, essentially, that kind of comes into play toward the end of the movie. But those vignettes, those vignettes did, like, there were like a couple of stretches where I was like, okay, so like we get Michael Pena's and Zazie Beetz' whole backstory where some things happen in that, and I like the way that it's told. I like the way that it's done, because it is I mean, it's like that kind of Black Mirror style thing, like you referenced, where it's like technology and it's kind of got like a little bit of a zombie bend to it. But part of me was like, okay, this is I don't know, this is nitpicking, but I was like, okay, so then they're at this diner later that night, and it's like, okay, why not just jump at the chance for this? Because clearly you've had an experience that is very much like is supported by this guy's like crazy argument going on. But that's a nitpick. That doesn't affect the actual enjoyment of the movie by any stretch. But I really liked those, in particular, those two vignettes of Michael Pena's character and Zazie Beetz and Juno Temple's character, which the man in that, I just have to reference this because, whatever, but played by, I think, Tom Taylor, who played the role of Jake in the very, very terrible 2017 Dark Tower movie. And like, I had such an old man sort of moment where I was like, I saw his name in the credits and I was like, is that the same one that played Jake? That's weird. That can't be. And I looked it up and sure enough it is. And I'm like,
it can be.
yeah. And I was like, wait, oh my God, that movie was 9 years ago. Oh my God, he's an adult. What is going on? So
now, was he
anyway.
Haley Lou Richardson's boyfriend? You mean that in that segment? Or is that someone else?
Oh, was that her? Oh yeah, was that her? Okay. Juno Temple, what was her backstory?
Hers was her son. I don't know if this is spoilery.
Oh, yes.
But
okay.
yeah.
No, you're fine. Okay, yeah. It was Haley Lou Richardson's backstory where
okay. Yeah, that one's good too. Honestly, I think there's 3, right? Because there's,
I think
as you mentioned, Zazie Beetz, Michael Pena, and then Juno Temple, and then Haley Lou Richardson. Basically, like their characters.
Yes.
Like, I think it's just those 3, basically.
Okay.
But yeah, I liked all 3 of them. I think that the Juno Temple one was my favorite. We can get into like what I thought that was a really good, effectively, like, that's the one that felt most like Black Mirror to me. And I mean that as a compliment because yes, there are a couple episodes I can kind of think of that it's kind of picking from, but there was such a bite to it. There was such like a satirical edge to it that I thought was pretty surprisingly dark for this kind of movie. But I really appreciate it. So anyway.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because I got those mixed up because Haley Lou Richardson's the one that has like the allergy to technology kind of thing.
Yes.
But yeah. The violence in this movie is also pretty unexpected in some certain ways, and just it's offset by the casualness of Sam Rockwell's performance and the kind of been there done that thing. I really liked that. I'm honestly struggling to remember the bits about Juno Temple's backstory because like I'm getting so mixed up with
well, there is a lot, and that's like this is sort of emblematic of the movie too, because in all of this too, there's this. He's back in time. I mean, he's coming back from time to. He says this all goes wrong. I don't know if you want me. I don't know if we should talk about like what the mission is, but he's recruiting these folks for a mission, and they have to do it like that night, basically. So that's like the through line, and there are other obstacles therein. There's like other people chasing them, and I don't know who they are or why or any of that sort of thing. And getting to that place is difficult. Anyway, all that. So there's definitely a lot, but why I can go into Juno Temple's characters like that, like backstory. And again, one of the nice things that I really do like about the vignettes is they do build, like there's basically a big piece from all 3 of those that does factor into the climax. With hers, it's that her son, her son dies in a school shooting. And
that's right. Yes.
And so she's kind of consoled by, or there's like this group of moms, and it's established kind of like right away. And again, this is really like, this is kind of ballsy to, in my opinion, to put like in a studio. I mean, it's a smaller movie, I suppose, but still. The premise is that school shootings are so prevalent in this version of whatever we are, in the very Black Mirror of like, the day after tomorrow sort of thing of like, it's like almost here. The premise is that the solution to school shootings, the papered over solution isn't, whatever, assault rifle bans, gun bans, those sort of things. It's literally let's clone our sons or daughters who are victims of school shootings and send them back and have them try their luck again. That is, I mean, that's ballsy. That's ballsy. That's really ballsy. I mean, I think again, and in the context of the way to do it in the movie, it's funny because we know the reality, which is like, okay, would this actually happen? Okay, well, maybe not quite like this, that there would be this company called Again, and that's the name of this service. that you can bring, your son or daughter's like memories to, and then you have to do this whole questionnaire thing. Of course, she's like in this warehouse where all of these other grieving parents are, and it's like, okay, well, is your son like, is he sardonic, or is he like this? It's like, what's his favorite food? And it's like, well, he's going to ask for this all the time, so be sure, just. I really love the commitment to, again, what I think is a really darkly funny premise. But that lends to the movie of like, she goes with like the robot version effectively of her son, and it's too creepy. It's uncanny valley. It's off. He's, oh, they have to do ad pitches too. So that's another part.
That's right.
There's a specific Black Mirror episode that just aired, I think last year, that calls back to that. So it's kind of it's like a combination a bit. It takes from bits of Common People and Be Right Back, two Black Mirror episodes, which I'm sure both are unintentional, especially since Common People was probably written around the same time or whatever as this. It's just, but yeah, that you would have a facsimile of your dead son or daughter doing ad pitch if you don't pay enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Incredibly bleak. It's funny.
I buy it. I mean, yes, that sounds about where we're at.
Yeah. So, 100%.
So she opts for the audio only version of her son that's basically on a hard drive, because they said that's like, it's more accurate, and that factors in again to the climax, like parts of the Haley Richardson, and then the one with the teachers, Zazie Beetz and Michael Pena. Like, there are elements that feed into kind of where we're going. So so that was my favorite of the three backstories, just because I was like, this is, I mean, I could see people being really pretty skeeved by that, but I thought it was. That was funny.
Honestly, I was kind of not off put by it, but I remember thinking like, oh, they are really going for it in terms of this particular social commentary and the message of it, like the satirical aspect of it and the subtext of it and everything is really, really strong. But I remember like thinking like, I kind of feel like this heavy of a subject doesn't necessarily belong in this cartoonish of a movie.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, but I respect it. I respect the swing for sure. Man, I can't believe I just kind of blocked that out, because that was a really, really interesting, plot line for this movie. But the one that I was really kind of taken with was the teacher one, Michael Pena and Zazie Beetz, where it's just like this zombie apocalypse sort of thing where the phones turn the kids into zombies and they chase after them. Like, I thought that was really pretty effective, pretty silly and over the top, but it was pretty interesting. I'll say that.
Yeah, and they basically find a gun where it's like, a gun that like some teacher makes there, where it's like it'll turn off their phones, it'll deprogram them, and like all it does is just make them upset for 30 seconds to lumber towards whoever shot the scene. So it is. You're right. It's totally, of course, a very George Romero sort of zombie reference. So that's also in terms of placement. I think that's really smart, because I think that's kind of a good, I almost want to say like warm up almost in terms of backstory. Because like I'm okay with it being relatively softball commentary. Like, oh, we're all hypnotized by our phones. Like, yes, like we kind of all know that. We're kind of all going with that shared understanding in that story. But I think taking it to that next step of like, let's make it like a zombie movie. It's like, no, they aren't just like, they're scrolling through like TikToks or whatever, but then there's also like, there is this extra level of like this pyramid thing, and they are being, hypnotized, whatever. So, so that was smart, and I think the placement of that is smart. And then, the Haley Richardsons too. The dudes getting lost in VR cyberspace. That's I think we're pretty much there with all three of these.
Oh, I know. Oh, absolutely. It is interesting that progression of it, because I believe like that's the order that it goes in. Is we
Mhm.
have the teachers, then the virtual reality, and then the clone stuff. I do like, in retrospect, I do really respect the way that it is building up toward the more dramatic stuff, because to have us lead us to that point, and then it kind of goes into a more dramatic thing for the last act of the movie, um which we'll talk about in spoilers. But I do like that progression. I do think that progression is good, and I'm curious if I revisit it and watch it again with that context, I'm sure that I'd probably get a little bit. I wouldn't be as off put by the school shooting thing as I was that first go around, because like I think it's played up for comedy, maybe a little too much, in terms of like having having the having the parents talk to Juno Temple, and being like doing the like James Franco thing. It's like first time. It's just like,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. It's gallows humor. I mean, really
yeah, oh
to the
yeah,
point of Ballad of Buster Scruggs. And I mean,
hmm
yeah, like I get it. Like I said, I mean, I get people being really turned off by
hmm
that. It's tough because the comedy doesn't, Juno Temple, for instance, or like the other characters. Well, there are a couple characters who actually are especially blithe about it, but
hmm
they are grieving. I mean, they're still
yeah,
they're saddened, and like it is, the comedy is more in that, again, like this is the best solution we could come up with.
right,
Like we just know that school shootings are inevitable, but
hmm
instead of passing meaningful common sense, gun law legislation,
right,
like this is the best way. We better just come up with clones and just,
yeah,
and
oh yeah,
and there are there are parents who are at the I I don't remember exactly if it's the funeral, exactly what it is,
mm.
but I won't even just get into what they talk about, because it's
Mhm.
probably best to be discovered. But it's, again, pretty like it's pretty provocative, I would say,
Mhm.
in terms of uh they're basically like on their fourth or fifth iteration of their child.
Yeah, yeah,
Anyway, so
jeez,
again, I mean, that's definitely the edgiest this movie gets, I would say.
oh yeah,
But again, that's one of the things I liked about this movie, is that it's all of these things, because it's still embedded in this narrative of like,
hmm
you know, yeah, sort of this like, adventure action sci-fi movie
hmm
where it's like, we got to stop this thing, the kind of ticking clock or whatever. Um,
yeah,
so yeah, it's a lot.
mhm.
It's a lot of
It is,
things.
oh yeah,
But again, it's like, it's really that classic thing of like, a lot of movies can feel pretty brain dead. Like, you can
yeah,
say that this movie is like, it's trying a lot and maybe only part of it works, but like,
mhm.
I'd rather have that, rather have one that's like kind of swinging away than just, just kind of like really playing it safe. And
Oh,
this,
totally.
yeah, doesn't play it safe. So I gotta respect that.
Yeah, and I like that level of commentary is also in the movie, when like the central kind of plot is he's coming back from the future to stop an AI from destroying humanity. Like that is clearly like a hot button issue right now, um,
Right.
with AI controversies and stuff. But um I like that it's just it's a symptom of multiple symptoms of an overall problem. Yeah, how did you feel about the commentary about artificial intelligence in this movie, and how it differs from past sci-fi movies? Like do you feel like it was informed by our current battles against artificial intelligence in the real world versus science fiction of the past, or anything like that?
Yeah, I think you touched on a really great point. I think this version of AI that it depicts is, I think, probably the scariest to where we are right now, because I
Mhm.
think it's been written probably up to the moment. And this is where I have to give Matthew Robinson, the screenwriter here, lone credited screenwriter,
Mhm.
a lot of credit, because I feel like Hollywood, like especially, is like really late to the punch with, I mean, God, a lot of
Yeah.
issues, quite frankly,
Oh yeah.
but especially like technology, because God, like it changes every second,
Mhm.
Um, but I think he really gets that, really taps into that anxiety, not just about AI, but just like yeah, we're just like reliant on technology. And
Mm.
more to this movie's point specifically, it already has felt like a tipping point. This movie feels like
Yeah.
it is at that precipice, and you're
Mhm.
seeing it like the night that after this, like we can't go back anymore. And it sort of drives that urgency. And I think, of course, for the movie, it ratchets up the tension for the narrative stakes, but like, yeah, that's kind of how people I think are feeling. Like all of this, like all of this technology, with artificial intelligence and deepfakes and all of this stuff, it's like it's moving so fast. No one's regulating it. No one's doing anything about it. So you're just kind of complacent. You're kind of just scrolling on your phone and like, yeah, everyone's addicted to their screens. What are you going to do about it? Who cares? Like, so I definitely think I appreciate that aspect of it. It's troubling, but I think troubling in a way that doesn't feel alarmist. And one of the things when I was thinking specifically about Looper with in regards to this, not only is he going back in time and has done this several times before, to reference like safety not guaranteed. I've only done this once. What I like about the person coming back is that they don't want to argue like Joseph Gordon-Levitt or doesn't want to like argue about time travel. It's like, because we'll just have straws together and we're just going to get confused. Now, Rian Johnson, of course, that's a clever way of sort of deflecting any sort of commentary of this off of all of the paradoxes that can kind of come out of time travel movies.
Right. With
this, Sam Rockwell has some commentary in the beginning, his character, but it's like he's not really arguing about it. It's like, I'm not here really, I'm here to convince you, but not on the strength of like technology's evil. Just like, this is the stuff I know. I want you to believe me, but either you're going to believe me or not, but we got to go. And I think I like that part of the movie that it's like, again, that to me sort of signaled like, yeah, there's going to be commentary in here, but we're trying not to make it capital C commentary and like, eat your broccoli. We kind of want to embed it in this story. And so I think that's what I liked about it the most, is that, yeah, it feels pretty accurate to where we're at with some of this stuff. But it's also like it's almost too late. And I think that's that was a really neat touch.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the way that everything kind of just coalesces into just one big package toward the end of the movie, which we'll talk about in spoilers, but the way that it comes together is something that keeps it from being that capital C commentary and keeps it being a sustained, entertaining movie, instead of being like, okay, we're going to talk about this particular societal problem. We're going to talk about this specific societal problem. We're going to talk about this specific societal problem. And then you're going to leave with these thoughts. Instead, it's like, here's A, B, and C. Here's how A, B, and C kind of come together to form D. And we're going to wrap it up as entertainment. But also there are some things in this movie that should be thought-provoking to you if you have a soul.
Right. I agree. I think that's well said. It's that they do, and that's those backstories. They kind of, it's really world building, is what it is. And yeah, I think that's definitely well done.
Yeah. Yeah. What else can we say in non-spoilers, or should we dive into spoilers?
I guess we can dive into spoilers because it's a little hard. There's so much of the movie that it's kind of about like what they're doing. And I understand a lot of the trailers are not exactly sort of revealing that, which I totally get. But yeah, it's probably good to talk about this stuff if we can.
Yeah, I agree. So before we dive into spoilers, what did you rate it on Letterboxd?
I give it a 3.5 out of 5.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a good time. It's definitely like kind of all over the place at times, but yeah, some nice commentary. Sam Rockwell, as you mentioned too, I didn't mention that. Like he's a really nice anchor for this. Like really perfect role for him. I think well cast generally as well, but I think he's great. And yeah, a lot of imagination, and I gotta applaud that.
Nice. I rated it 3 stars. But I feel like that could definitely go up upon revisiting it. But yeah, for 3 stars, I thought it was a very good time. Very unique. Very it's a very unique kind of original sort of take on a collection of maybe tired science fiction premises. But the kind of the social commentary here and there, the clashing of tone is kind of what kept me from going further. But upon revisiting, I could raise that. So I rated it 3 stars. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and go into spoilers for Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. Once again, this movie is in theaters as of February 13th. So check it out if you haven't seen it. And if you don't want to be spoiled, check the show notes for timestamps to jump around the spoiler section. So without further ado, we're going to play a clip from the trailer. And when we come back, we're going to be spoiling Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die.
Are any of you even listening to me?
I traveled here today to tell you that things do not go well for you in the future.
But tonight we got a shot. There's a perfect configuration of people in this diner that can save humanity.
What happens if we fail?
I really don't like to say it out loud. It's kind of a morale killer.
All right, so spoilers on for Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. Brent, what I was getting at in the non-spoiler section was that the whole kind of reveal at the end that the man from the future is the son of Haley Lou Richardson's character from Ingrid, that just felt a little bit, it felt a little bit, I guess, unneeded, but I'm conflicted on that because there is some heart to it. There's a beauty to that kind of closing scene between the two of them. And it's, I don't know, it's kind of sweet, but it's something that I felt like wasn't really needed among the cacophony of other sci-fi, not tropes, but sci-fi elements that were present throughout the entire movie. So how'd you feel about that reveal, the twist, and how it informed the rest of the movie?
Yeah, I didn't know I knew that somehow they cut away from that scene where it's like a flashback of Man from the future, like as a kid, and they cut away from like whoever his mom is. I'm like, okay, well, it's probably going to be either Haley Richardson or Juno Temple. So I was like 50-50, and I was like, okay. The way they just like edited that, it just like I knew it was going to be someone that we knew already.
Yeah.
So
same.
they do telegraph that, I think, a little too heavily. I think another touchstone for this movie, certainly Terminator 2, is kind of there as well, like sort of like Sarah Connor, John Connor thing. Of course, like it's different in terms of like the way the characters are in the movie, but effectively it's that sort of like, sending back in time sort of thing. So yeah, that was honestly, I think probably a plot development too many. And again, that's where I think this movie is like, again, like I had a good time with it and I would like recommend it and all that, but it's like, it really does. Yeah, it does feel like there's, I mean, in a good, and you can kind of see the good and the bad of like studio intervention, right? Like the Warner Brothers version of this movie would be cut by like a half an hour. And it's like, just get rid of that. Like you don't need you don't need the, and all this stuff. And so that's where I think like for better or worse, like it's probably too much. And that's a great example that you pointed out there, that like that you had to have that like tie-in. It definitely like creates some like logical things that like don't make sense either.
Sure.
So like plot holes too, but I sort of just went with it because I forget exactly when it's revealed. I think it's pretty much towards the end, so I was just kind of like, okay, that's fine. But yeah, it was one of those ones I feel like you probably didn't need, but it didn't really like kill anything for me either.
Yeah, honestly, I think it was the kind of sloppiness of the setup of it that kind of killed it for me a little bit. It's not a terrible, it's a bit derivative obviously, but it's not a terrible reveal, or it's not a terrible twist. And like I said, it does have that sweetness of the drama between the two of them at the end, but it wasn't, it was a combination of, and this is nitpicking, but it was a combination of them cutting away from her face and the emphasis on him saying that she would always say that we would see the sunrise together, and it's like that as echoed from her talking to her boyfriend in the past about seeing the sunrise together, and it's like, okay, you're not like, it's clear that like it's not disguised enough, so that's a nitpick and everything, but yeah, I don't know, I just felt like it was something that was a little bit sloppily done, and it kind of took me out of the movie a little bit, especially when you contrast it with this like clone kid who's like creating this AI and everything. Like, it's a very big effects driven moment, and then it kind of loses its steam when we get that reveal that's like, yeah, I figured that out 5 minutes ago or 10 minutes ago or whatever. Like, it's not landing as hard as you think it would amidst all of this stuff going on in the scene.
Yeah, this movie is like, you know, a dude going up to the buffet and like doing a big spoonful of every single thing in the like 20 pans, and then like going back back and like getting another plate. You know, it just like, it doesn't know when to say when.
Right.
Which, again, like I think like part of me is like, yeah, that can be sort of grating when you're like watching as a final product, and you're like, all right, well, like, in that, you just like, I cut that, and like, again, like, studio notes for this would probably be pretty wild. Like, I have to imagine they would cut quite a bit out. But
oh yeah.
So I totally, like, I get what you're saying, but yeah, for me, it was also like, it's fine. Like, everything in the kitchen sink sort of movie, and I was just like,
absolutely.
And
like,
you're right too. So the thing of like the AI of like Juno Temple having him in her ear, like that part of that, like sort of goes away. Like, it's introduced in that second backstory, kind of goes away, and then it ends up being like the Deus Machina of like the climax of like, just plug me in, and then I'm an AI, and yet I'll terminate all AI. Like, that didn't. Maybe that's. I've seen this. It's been several weeks since I've seen this, so I don't know. I don't remember the exact, but like, just thinking of it now, it's like, yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's I did like that element of the AI voice in her head of her son saying like, you need to go with him, like him guiding her to that. I thought that was interesting. It is kind of a head scratcher too, because it is like an AI like compelling a human to go after AI to stop AI, and like it's very interesting there. So
I guess though they don't end up really saving the world though. So but then I don't know if that's because of something that the bald head kids. That's the other thing with like Looper. I was kind of getting a Looper thing of like, you know, this, you know, kid with, I mean, basically like supernatural powers, the way he's coding or whatever. I mean, it's this humongous like pyramid of chords. I thought that was like that was like an imaginative set pieces. Like, this is ground zero for, you know, AI getting out of hand, which is a fun thing to, think about, that, you know, in the world we're in now, you know, it's billionaire oligarchs who are just doing this just because they want to make more money. But just the idea that it's like, no, in this world, it's this, you know, kid who's just like has to go forward and like and do this, and he's like, what are these? I don't even know how old he is. I mean, he's like 11 or 12 or something like that. Like, he's young, but anyway, and that's right. It's like building itself too. Yeah, I mean that stuff was pretty fun. I love. I'm getting sidetracked. Can you believe it with this movie? I love the like small soldiers aspect of these like little fighting robots too. Because again, it's like this movie. Why would they not have that? Like, it's of course you're going to have a finale where like these little techno bots are like coming to life with like a knife and everything. It's like, of course it's going to turn into like a horror movie at the last
absolutely
minute. So
so
that was fun too. But I'm sorry, of course I forgot your question.
I don't even know if I had a question really, but we
were talking about the AI like destroying itself. Yeah, so it doesn't end up working, the plan. They're still within this VR world or something. So, of course, Sam Rockwell gets enough juice to just barely click the button so that he can go back one more time. And so the very last scene is like, all right, we're going to try one more time, but we got really close. So it's the closest and furthest he's ever gone. So that was a fun denouement at the very end where it's like, I think I know how we can crack this. We got really close. So anyway, that's, you know, again, dark stuff in the movie and
Mhm.
potentially really dark that it's like, they didn't win, but then it's like you
Yeah.
get that one more shot, and that's
But
sort of fun.
leaving them in that kind of virtual reality world. Granted, Michael Pena gets eaten by a giant kitten monster
That shoots confetti out of its
that shoots confetti, which also, like, that statement alone
right
in a movie that has school shooting commentary in
Yeah.
it is just such a such a weird dichotomy to have in my brain while watching this. So but yeah, it's an interesting dark ending for that iteration of that time through the loop and everything. But it's also appropriate. It also feels, again, like you've said, it feels very much like Black Mirror. It's a very Black Mirror coded movie in a lot of respects. And I, as a fan of science fiction, as a fan of Black Mirror, as a fan of The Twilight Zone, check out Anthology, which I think is going to be coming back fairly soon, hopefully, if I can put that out there. But having that be this overall thing is really kind of satisfying. It threw me for a loop, no pun intended, at the end, because it kind of just felt like, oh, this is a good dark way to kind of close that gap and close that loop in this movie. And I admired them going for that kind of bleakness at the end.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a lot of the movie to me is sort of this it's sort of this like exuberant, like apocalyptic tone.
Mhm.
Like it's sort of like, it's not like whistling through the graveyard. It's like, it's sort of whistling through
Yep.
the graveyard, I guess you could say, but it's like past the graveyard with like the digital headstones. I don't know. Because
Right.
it's, it's like the whole like AI apocalypse, but it has that
Mhm.
sort of thing of like, yeah, it's like kind of manic depressive AI apocalypse,
Yep.
movie with cats that have confetti shooting out of their,
Yeah.
I think, well, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if he was peeing. I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, I don't
That's the
know.
other thing. I don't remember exactly from where the kitten came from. I don't know how much of this movie I've half imagined since in the few
Sure.
weeks since I've seen it. But again, I think that's probably part of the movie's charm.
Yeah, absolutely. Just that it can exist in that movie and have you question it weeks later is really kind of a strength of the movie, I would say.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know what else can we really talk about in spoilers, because I just really wanted to get that off my chest about the mother-son relationship dynamic that appears at the end of the movie. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was well done.
Yeah, the only other thing I'd say in
overall.
terms of spoilers would be that set piece, basically, where they get to the kid's house who's going to develop
Mhm.
the AI that's, this going to pass the tipping point or whatever. And I like that set piece where it's like the two parents and they're acting like innocent. And it's like, nope, they're paid actors that this like kid
Yep.
and like, oh, this whole thing is like a mirage, and like you have to like, beat down this wall, and he's in this basement, this like bunker and all
Mhm.
this stuff. And I like the, again, implication that Sam Rockwell has, like his character has, of like we've died like the crew that I've recruited for this have died horrifically in past times. So like you
Mhm.
have to like this might not seem dangerous. It might just seem like we're kind of going through backyards, but like it's going to get real once we get in this house. And I thought that was really kind of unexpected. The way that, again, it's sort of, again, that was very like, I guess Black Mirror-ish, not even necessarily Black Mirror, but just like sci-fi-y, in that it's like, it seems
Yeah.
like everything's fine in this house, meaning when I say fine, like, oh, he's just going to be upstairs in his bedroom, and like,
Sure.
how hard can that be? It's like, it's just like, just take him out, and that's it. But I like that it's difficult, but not in a way that seems really apparent either. It's not like he has a whole SWAT team like envelop them or anything.
Right.
It's that, it's this like deceptively germane, like innocuous house setting, suburban setting, but it's actually a lot more than that. So I thought that was fun. And there's like there's like a fight sequence with the parents and all that stuff. So that was cool.
It vaguely, and I don't know how, because I haven't seen Terminator 2 in a very long time, but it vaguely reminded me a little bit of that. The whole like your foster parents are dead or whatever.
Yes. Yeah.
Reminded me of like an echo of that, which I appreciate, because this is a movie that does pay very heavy homage to a lot of different science fiction properties and principles and titles, in a unique way that creates its own unique story. Like nine out of 10 times we experience in this movie. So
Yeah, Sam Rockwell, there's a particular shot, I think, after when they're on the roof, where he like lights up a stogie or whatever. And it's very Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I have to imagine that was, if not a direct Terminator like 2 reference, just a reference to, kind of Arnold's persona or what we would expect. So
exactly.
Yeah. But and again, we're talking about Looper for me, one of my favorite sci-fi action movies ever. Terminator 2, one of my favorite sci-fi action movies. Always just kind of like, if you're gonna, not steal, but if you're gonna pay homage to or whatever, do it from the best, do it from the greats. So So yeah, and I mean, and Black Mirror too. I think and again, some of the stuff that I think they're even like, there's probably just parallel thought going on with some of this stuff. Like, again, that Common People, I think that's what it's called, episode that just aired last year. Like, I don't think like Matthew Robinson knew that part of it, that story was going to cross over with this. So I truly do think that was kind of parallel thinking. So, so yeah, sharp screenplay from him. I think that was maybe the strongest aspect for me. I just thought it was such a go for broke story. Again, direction too. I think Gore Verbinski is definitely the guy to try to make all of this kind of crazy story work. But yeah, I was, that section in the beginning, especially too, like the writing's really strong, but I know that's what they're leaning on a lot for the marketing. Like the trailer is a lot of that scene in the diner, but man, I remember watching that opening, like the first 10-15 minutes of this movie, and I'm like, this is so well staged and like blocked, the way he's jumping up on all of the tables. It just felt so tactile. And this is a movie that uses a lot of special effects, especially later on. And I really just loved that diner set, or I mean, I assume it's a set, regardless of, wherever. It was just the way he's sort of like working across like all of these tables and like jumping on the bar and all this stuff. It's a great, again, performance, great right out of the gate for him to really just like sort of command the screen. But again, like just such a great way visually to tell the story, not just of him, but like the world he's going back to. So I was really invested like early on, just on the basis of that first scene.
Same. It's a very cleverly written way to just do all the exposition, but in a just very fun, fluid, just hyper energetic way. And like, yeah, I agree. The script is incredibly strong. The directing is really strong. Sam Rockwell, his like this movie, it doesn't live or die on his performance, but like his performance is what elevates every other aspect of the movie for me. He's just so fun to watch in this role, and he does such an incredible job of carrying that throughout the entire run of the movie that I can't imagine another actor trying to even attempt what he does in this movie, and I really appreciate his performance.
Yeah, it's so good. And I mean, I can imagine the studio version of this where, God help me, it's like Ryan Reynolds and it's smart alecky and smarmy and like, it's like, put it down, bub. I know you're going to eat that croissant. It's like, oh God, give me a break. Sam Rockwell, I mean, it's still funny and it's knowing, but it's also sort of this exasperation and sort of like world weariness too. So yeah, he's terrific in it. I agree with you that he does like elevate all of pretty much every other aspect of it.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die?
I don't think so. Yeah, I mean, check it out if you're there's a lot of stuff out right now, and I'm fairly confident there's nothing else like this movie out right now.
Yes.
Even if it's something that's playing for a 20th or 30th or 40th anniversary.
Right.
This is weirdly kind of one of the, it's not really like an old school movie in any way. It's very much like of this time, but it also doesn't feel like anything else that's coming out. So
Yeah, I agree. Well said. Well said. Yeah, I think that'll do it for our review of Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. Once again, Brent, you rated it 3.5 stars on Letterboxd. I rated it 3 stars. You can, of course, follow Brent on Letterboxd at Awake in the Dark and me at Obsessive Viewer. Yeah, that'll do it for our review of Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. Are you ready for the secondary review, Brent?
yeah, absolutely.
All right, and before we get to our secondary review, I want to take a quick moment to remind you that if you like the show, please take a moment to follow us on social media and subscribe to and rate the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, or whatever your preferred podcast app is. And don't forget to subscribe to the Obsessive Viewer Podcast YouTube channel as well, where I post video versions of the podcast and a bevy of short clips and bits of me talking about movies. And if you're interested in starting a podcast of your own, you can go to Libsyn and use promo code OBSESSED. When you sign up for a new account, you'll get up to 2 months free, depending on when you sign up, and we'll get a commission on it as well. More details on that are in the show notes of this episode. And now back to the show.
They tell me I view obsessively.
All right, and for tonight's secondary review, we're going to be talking about Send Help, which is currently in theaters. It was released on January 30th, 2026, directed by Sam Raimi, written by Damian Shannon and Mark Swift. The cast includes Rachel McAdams, Dylan O'Brien, Edel Ismail, Dennis Haysbert, Xavier Samuel, and Chris Peng. And the plot summary, courtesy of IMDb, is an employee and her insufferable boss become stranded on a deserted island, the only survivors of a plane crash. Here, they must overcome past grievances and work together to make it out alive. And since this is a recent released movie, I kind of feel like we should do a spoiler section separately, if that's okay. So let's go into our non-spoiler thoughts on Send Help. Brent, how did you feel about this movie?
Yeah, I think this is a good one. This is the latest from Sam Raimi, who it's funny. I think we had talked about like a couple different movies we were going to potentially do for this episode, and I think we were. I didn't realize like kind of the kind of interconnecting fabric between these two is it's kind of like directors that have been around for a while, sort of, in my view, kind of like getting their groove back. Not that Gore Verbinski lost his groove, but he's hadn't directed a movie for 9 years. Right. Sam Raimi has directed some movies the past several years, but like he did the Doctor Strange sequel, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness in 2022, and then Oz the Great and Powerful 9 years before that in 2013. Both like, big effects heavy, big like studio movies or whatever. Send Help to me kind of feels like the first real, in a way, like Sam Raimi movie since Drag Me to Hell in 2009. Yeah. So again, that was kind of the joy for me in this movie, and like, again, directors kind of being able to, given like a pretty sizable budget and some stars, and it's like kind of just go crazy and like make your own movie and like have some fun with it. To me personally, again, these are like, I'm sure different production companies that are working behind these, but I like the idea that it's sort of, there's this trust of like, these guys have done this for a while, and Gore Verbinski and Sam Raimi, I mean, they make different kinds of movies. But I like that. I like that concept of being able to like recognize like these guys have made quite a few, good to great movies, not all of them home runs or anything, but like, let's give them a budget, like kind of trust what they're doing. To me, I just wanted to call out up top and be like, I hope that's a trend that continues. Not that you can never, and that's not to say that there's anything wrong with, first time filmmakers or people who are still finding their way, nothing wrong with that at all. But I think, with Gore Verbinski, looking at something like The Lone Ranger or whatever, like, and again, Pirates of the Caribbean really back in the day, there's nothing wrong with these like big, huge budget studio movies. But I think when you watch these directors maybe in a sense, I guess, get back to their roots. It can really be refreshing, and that's how I found Send Help, because this to me definitely feels like this is sort of Sam Raimi's vein of like camp meets like psychological horror / thriller, and it seems like he's having a lot of fun. So
Absolutely, and it's something that I was looking forward to this movie just on that strength of, okay, this is a very very pared down kind of Sam Raimi experience that I'm going to see. That Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien are great. I've really liked them in a lot of things in the past, and to see them play off each other is just a really great experience. And I'm going to deviate from the conversation just a little bit and do a little bit of a tangent. Between like seeing the, I'm sorry to say, insufferable media stuff from like Cynthia Riva and Ariana Grande for the Wicked movies, and like seeing the bits and pieces of like Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi talking about Wuthering Heights, like that just very big, like self-serious sort of just like obnoxious tone that their marketing interviews like go. Like going and seeing like Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien just like having a blast, like talking about like they're doing like those fun little like questioning each other things, and like Dylan O'Brien's talking about how he used to have a crush on Rachel McAdams, and them trying to figure out like what each other's guilty pleasures are. It's just like seeing the energy between them as actors, just being like two like respectful people, like who respect each other and like enjoy each other's company, and like seem like they're friends, is like, it goes a long way when compared to like people talking about like Margot Robbie talking about like, oh, he's the most romantic person ever and he sent me flowers, and it's like, okay, shut up. I don't know.
I'm in the middle of writing my Wuthering Heights review, and I'm like basically writing the sentence that you're saying right now, kind of. I mean, about that film. But yeah, I don't reference a lot of like press junket stuff in my reviews, but God, Warner's is really testing me, you know. And so is Margot Robbie, and they're whatever, they're doing what they feel they need to do to promote that movie. But yes, I will second your tangent or continue your tangent and say I agree. Yeah, they're both. It's funny because in this movie, you know, again, it's a much more adversarial. The plot of the movie is they're stranded on this island. He's her boss, you know, and she has like tried out for Survivor. She is a survivalist. She's like experienced and knows how to make it until help comes, if it ever does. And so of course there's a role reversal, and he's very sexist and all these things. So it's very adversarial in the movie, of course, but of course on the press junket they have a ton of chemistry. And I agree with you. There was actually one, and I never I never do this. But there was a reel that they did for some dessert company in LA or something. I don't know what it was called. And it was a tie-in with the movie or whatever, but they were just kind of goofing around, and they were sharing what corporate acronyms are, like OOO or initialisms, and CMO, and like basically what do these things mean, because this movie takes place, at least in the first 20-30 minutes, in like corporate America or whatever. It was just funny watching them like try to guess this stuff that I get out of office auto replies every week in my job because you know, it's an email. Anyway, so yes, I will say I absolutely second you. Yeah, they're great. I don't know if I can use that to segue and talk about just them in this movie. They're wonderful. Like Rachel McAdams especially, she's done comedy before, and I mean, not that this is like comedy, but it's what do I want to say? She doesn't always do just like, of course, like down the line dramas or like rom-coms. Right. Like she's done some other you know, some other movies that are maybe kind of outside those lanes, but she really commits to this character, and again the tone that Sam Raimi is going for, and again this sort of like wild-eyed like desperation that you would have in this scenario. And she's just outstanding in this.
Yes.
I'm trying to think, like, I know she was in Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, which she was good in, a supporting role. I barely remember. I think she was in Multiverse, but isn't they go to her wedding at the beginning or something, but she's not really in it.
And Sam Raimi said that, I think he said that one of the reasons why, if not he took this project, or the reason that he chose Rachel McAdams was because he felt like she was way underutilized in Multiverse of Madness.
And she was that's right, she was in the first one. I know she's well, I guess not his wife. She works at the hospital with him. Anyway, I'm not a huge fan of the Doctor Strange movies. They're fun. The Multiverse of Madness I prefer of the two, but regardless, great pick in terms, and Sam Raimi is too. Like, of course, Bruce Campbell is like the classic, but he reuses actors and actresses a lot in his movies. J.K. Simmons, like, there's a lot, but again, Sam Raimi, like, sort of trusting, like, oh, this is someone I worked with before, like, whatever reason, however Rachel McAdams got cast in this, it works because, like, it really hinges on her character, the transformation of her being sort of like, meek and sort of like degraded in this macho corporate setting, to the roles being reversed, knowing about, knowing it's kind of hard to buy the sort of glasses on, sort of like geeky Rachel McAdams that she has, like, schmutz on her face. Like, you sort of go with that. Like, that's fine. Yeah. But she really goes full bore, so to speak, once we get on the island, and like, it's an outstanding job. And Dylan O'Brien too, who I haven't seen in a ton of stuff. Weird. So I have to catch up on Twinless. I'll be watching it like this month.
Same here.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it because I've heard great things. But I actually saw him in a movie called Anniversary a few months back. That there's no reason you would have heard of it or seen it. It's not a good movie. It's very much a like, whatever, hand wringing about fascism, which I get. But like, the way it's comical, the way it happens in the movie, it's like way too fast, and that this book would like change the whole political landscape of America. Sorry, people don't read. Better or worse. Sorry. So it's
smart to read.
You're right. Thank you. Yeah. I'm glad Andrew Tate didn't show up in Anniversary. Anyway, so the movie itself it was hard for me to take too seriously, at least. But he's really great in it. He's really threatening. He has just like a few scenes in Anniversary. It's basically like year markers, and he gets like a lot more sinister. And it's a really good I think it's almost worth watching the movie for his scenes in it. But anyway, all that to say, that was the thing I'd seen him in before this, and he's wonderful in Send Help. Perfectly nails he's playing a type, of course. He's playing the he's playing the douchey business guy. His dad dies, he gets handed the company, he's entitled, the whole bit. He's definitely playing into to all that, but he does a great job and has a really good like obnoxious laugh. Especially that's like, he doesn't care, like, he doesn't keep people around him who would criticize how obnoxious his laugh is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It is like the perfect, like, nails on a chalkboard thing. It's funny because, like, that laugh and the way that Rachel McAdams in the first part of the movie is kind of really done up in a very kind of schlubby sort of way. I don't know what word you used to describe her, but like the way that it feels very Sam Raimi in a certain way, that it feels very heightened and like over the top, to the point where it's like, it makes you question if you're watching like a movie set in reality, because it's so cartoonishly over the top, both the laugh and the way that she's like done up in the first part of the movie, that it feels like a weird like creature comfort that, that, oh, this is a Sam Raimi movie, because he is like able to sell that heightened persona and heightened reality on screen in the same way that like in the Spider-Man movies he was able to sell like the comic book feel of it on film by still making it like set in reality. That's such a uniquely Sam Raimi skill that I think is delightful to see captured here in this context.
Yeah, I think if I didn't know, because this is another one, I did see the spots for this going into it. I'm not sure if I saw a full trailer even, but I knew what the premise was. Anyway, Sam Raimi, Rich McAdams, Dylan O'Brien, the whole dynamic of the whole thing, kind of the elevator pitch of it and everything. If I hadn't known that in the first 20 minutes of this, let's put it this way, if I didn't realize like kind of that it was going to this sort of like a desert island thing, if I thought the whole thing was going to be corporate satire based on those 20 minutes, I'd be like, oh boy, we're in for a long ride. But again, knowing that that's, of course, A, only the setup, and B, that it is Sam Raimi, that it is going to be more cartoonish and far-fetched. He's just... That's him, man. He has this sort of funhouse mirror look at the world and at even stuff that would seem to be like a serious drama, you know, that he just doesn't he doesn't see things the same way. And I mean, he's kind of a singular director in that way. So yeah, but yeah, I agree with you that like it is so broad in terms of the corporate satire stuff that if we had stayed there for any longer than we did, I'd be like, oh my God. But it doesn't. And it's not about that. Like, it's just sort of so we get the sense of the characters and ultimately they are types. But again, it doesn't matter. It didn't faze me at all because again, it's more about the performances and of course where they go and all that.
Mm-hmm. And that's something that I really appreciated too, is that they are very much types. They're very much played up in that archetypical way for the first 20 or so minutes. But like once they're on the island and once it's just a two-hander with the two of them like back and forth and exploring that changing like power dynamic between them, it becomes something really interesting to watch unfold because it's not just that the power dynamic is shifting or has shifted, and it's not. I respect the movie for not going full Misery style storytelling because they end up depending on each other in significant ways, and it's really satisfying to see that like that bond be fostered throughout it, and then in one way or the other having that challenged and in some cases ripped away entirely. Like it becomes this really, really satisfying and very very visual like power of wills between the two of them that I found really really enjoyable. And it leads to a final act where I didn't see where it was going in several different aspects, and it made the movie all the better to me because it was something that I was just really really entranced by throughout it. It was really satisfying.
Yeah, kind of similar with Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. Like there's like one, I won't say what it is in non-spoiler, but there was like one bit that I feel like is telegraphed a little too heavily that I didn't know exactly how it was going to pay off, but I kind of knew. We'll talk about that. And then there's like one plot development that I was like, and it's a relatively big one that I was like, okay, that's a little ridiculous, even in a Sam Raimi movie, but.
I'm very curious. I think I know what you're.
Okay,
I think I know what you're referencing.
That's the fun thing is we could be talking about several things. So yeah, this is another one too that like this is the 20th. Put this out 20th century. Almost 2 hours long. Definitely feels like one that maybe wasn't. And I don't know this, but wasn't like studio noted to death. Wasn't focus group to death. I think like if anything, it's maybe a little. Probably could have been even trimmed down somewhat or, but again, to me, it's like, it's so funny with these like two movies. It's sort of like, there's something to be said for studio intervention, like at times for sure. But I don't know. To me, it's sort of like a fun way to sort of see like, I don't want to say if they had their druthers, but like, these like directors, is just like, it feels like a more full embodiment of like their sensibilities and how they
Yes.
like to tell stories. So I
Mhm.
appreciated both of the movies, Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die and Send Help, for that reason.
Yes. And there are at least a couple of really effective jump scare sort of horror elements in this movie that is just part and parcel Sam Raimi.
Yes.
It is so it was such a delight to see those scenes just pop up. Like there's one that I'm not going to spoil or anything, but it's somewhat of a not dream sequence, but it's
Yeah, I know the
a
one you're talking
visual
about.
jump scare. Yeah.
It is that is not just from a horror movie. That is only a Sam Raimi horror movie.
Yeah,
Could that
exactly.
moment happen? You're right.
100%. And it is so sad. It's to the point that if any other filmmaker did that, it would be like, oh, it's ripping off Sam Raimi.
Yeah, you're going to be getting a
like-
call from Sam Raimi.
Exactly. It was just so it made me smile quite a bit. It was really good.
Yep.
Really satisfying. Yeah, what did you so the corporate aspect of it, there's some fun just energy there. It is it's a little pat in terms of like being just, oh, okay, she's up for a promotion, she doesn't get the promotion, she's ridiculed by people, like she's not taken seriously. Like it's kind of, yeah, like you said, if the whole movie was that, we would be kind of groaning a little bit here and there. But I like that it does give us a good introduction to the characters and their personalities and their dynamics. It was weird. I did not expect there to be such a Survivor thing to it, like her being obsessed with Survivor and everything. Because like in the opening scene, we see her just living alone with her bird, talking to her bird and everything, and we see like these shots of the books that's like, oh, survival instincts and all of these things. Like, oh, okay, well, this is just laying the groundwork that she's studied this, so it's not unbelievable that she's able to prosper in this island environment. But then it goes further to where she's obsessed with Survivor, and like that's her whole obsession and everything. And for just some reason, like that, it's such an over the top kind of, not necessarily overcorrection, but it is something that's doubling and tripling down on like, okay, we need to sell the believability of her survival skills on the island. But it doesn't come across that way because it is telling us through the lens of this incredibly lonely person,
Right.
Who doesn't have much going on. So of course she's going to hyperfixate on something like that. And I don't know, it really sold the movie well to me. And one kind of, I guess, downside to that, or one thing that I kind of wish it had done more, is it kind of intimates to us that Dylan O'Brien's character is like, he is this very entitled, rich asshole person, but like there are moments early on where he's like fixated on the stuff on her face, and like he seems like kind of germophobic, and I kind of wish there was more to his character, but that's a minor nitpick there, because otherwise I really liked it.
Yeah, and with his character, again, I like that, of course, if this were to happen in real life or whatever, with like two people, like within a day, like, because basically within a day, the sort of Dylan O'Brien character in this setting would be like, I'm sorry I treated you so terrible. We're not in the office anymore. I'm not your boss. You're the queen now. Like, what you say goes. And like, that would pretty much be it. And then, I mean, I say be it. I mean, it's still whatever. Like, yeah. But in terms of the battle of wits or wills or what have you, that is this movie. It, like, that wouldn't really happen. Of course, you don't have a movie at that point. So that's why you have to have his character be so bad. And it's a great montage, like relatively early on, where she just leaves him. And like, that's because his leg is broken or like severely injured, and he can't get food for him, so he can't do anything. And again, that's to the point where it's even more ridiculous that like he would still try to like berate her or whatever while he's like injured. Again, you just have to go with it in the movie. If you don't, then you're not going to enjoy it. But
that's where I got most of my Misery vibes.
Sure.
It's very very similar to what happens in Misery, and I really like that aspect of it. But you're right, like at that point, it would like maybe it's to speak to his just complete severe entitlement and just asshole persona and everything. But at that point, it's like at least fake being like
Yeah.
genial toward her or whatever, being kind so that you can, not die.
And maybe I've seen too much C-suite LinkedIn stuff of people virtue signaling and
Sure.
pretending they're maybe the real executives would be real assholes and just continue to be even with their legs broken.
Oh, yeah.
And knowing that's the other part of it too, is knowing that she has talent, like being able to see this, like, oh, you're gross and weird and I'm not going to promote you, but like clearly you know what you're doing out here.
Right.
You would think, if that's someone who is working their way up to management, or well, he's not, he's the CEO, and again, I understand he's taking the reins from his dad, so he doesn't really know what it's like to actually spot talent and be able to delegate and all those things. So I mean, again, it doesn't matter because it's just part of the movie, but again, that's like all in his performance too, that this is not a guy who has gone to the grocery store his whole life and doesn't fold his own clothes and that sort of thing. So
this is what being this is what being trapped on a desert island with Rachel McAdams taught me about B2B sales or whatever.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That was the stupid first line I had in my review. It's like for most people, being stuck on an island with Rachel McAdams wouldn't seem that bad. I'm sure there are other like reviews that started with that line, but I didn't go that way. So
nice.
But anyway, it's a lot of fun, and it's fun in the, without getting into spoilers, the kind of overcorrection that she does too as a character, because revenge isn't a pendulum that goes right to the middle.
Sure.
Sometimes it can go the other way, and you start to see that overcorrection as the story goes through, where she does things where it's straining your sympathy for her, and I like that about this movie, is that it sort of earns its nastiness.
Yeah, it is a very nasty movie overall in terms of just like, the overcorrections that you reference, like the lengths that she goes to and that they go to in the name of just revenge, or even just getting the upper hand in like the power dynamic, it gets to the point where it's like, holy, okay, this is intense. It gets to an intensity that I wasn't expecting, and I was just so enamored with. I thought it was just really, really well done. Especially some stuff in the third act, and the way that the movie ends is really, really satisfying to me, which we'll talk about in spoilers.
Yeah. And again, I mean, I think, people who are familiar with Sam Raimi's kind of like his hallmarks, or like his kind of defining movies, the Evil Dead movies or Darkman, which again, I think I had mentioned, we just rewatched last month in theaters. I think people going into this movie might get more out of it, kind of knowing more about sort of the stories he tells and how he tells them. But it seems like the response to this, I don't know exactly box office wise, I think it's done well, but I think people really dig it. And again, I think even this is one where if it's like your first Sam Raimi movie, although I guess a lot of people have seen the Spider-Man movies, but maybe your first Sam Raimi movie outside of the Spider-Man trilogy or whatever. It's just a good time. It's not like you have to be in the Sam Raimi, fan club or whatever to get this movie by any means. But I think, if you do, I think you'll recognize like, all right, he's back, because Multiverse of Madness does have some of his touches. And again, I like that movie overall. It's, just sort of what the MCU does. They compress every artist's, sensibilities and like get it into a box that's like 2 inches by 2 inches. And it's like, well, you have all this room to play. And Oz the Great and Powerful, I actually have not seen, but
I haven't seen that either.
Just
over at our friends at Midwest Film Journal, I believe Lou Harry has an essay on it that I think he rips it to shreds. I think.
Oh, really?
So
Yeah.
yeah.
I did see Wicked Part 1 and Part 2, so I mean, I'm pretty up on the Oz lore these days. But
Nice.
but
Nice.
anyway, all that to say that yeah, it definitely feels like this is yeah, he's sort of back in his nasty groove.
Exactly. Yep. Totally agree. Totally agree. Are you ready to go into spoilers for Send Help?
Yep.
All right. Well, what did you rate it on Letterboxd? And is it going to make your top 10s? Is it a contender for top 10 in any capacity?
I went with 3.5 out of 5 on this one
Nice.
as well. Like probably not top 10, but like this and Good Luck Have Fun Don't Die are two like strong, like two of my favorites of the year so far. We're in mid-February right now, but I mean,
Yeah.
they're like the ones that are sort of piercing through for me early for like a relatively slower start to the year.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
now
worth mentioning you have not gone to the Bone Temple yet.
I haven't gone to the Bone Temple yet, but yeah,
Right.
I will be attending very soon. I did see Nirvana
Nice.
the band, the show, the movie, and that was excellent.
Nice.
But anyway, these are two, yeah, I definitely strongest ones of the year so far for me. I have some nitpicks which we'll pick in the spoiler section, but
Sure.
but yeah, a fun time. Yeah, check it out.
Nice. And I rated it 3.5 stars as well. Probably not going to make top 10, but it is a movie that I do plan on watching again at some point, just because it is so much fun. It's just a very fun movie in that very specific Sam Raimi way. So that is our non-spoiler review of Send Help. We're going to go ahead and go into a spoiler review. Of course, if you haven't seen it and you don't want to be spoiled, don't watch or don't listen. But I'm going to play a clip from the trailer. When we come back, we're going to be spoiling Send Help.
Look who's joined the land of the living.
How long?
You been out? Day and a half?
Have you tried making a distress signal?
Or a bigger fire?
I was busy trying to keep us alive.
But getting us out of here, that should be your focus, not being Susie Homemaker over here.
What did you just say to me?
Let's not forget, I'm your boss. You work for me.
We're not in the office anymore, Bradley.
All right, so spoilers on for Send Help, and there was something I can't remember. I don't know if this is the actual meme or whatever, but the like I just imagined at the end of this movie there being like this being added to a proverbial letterbox list that's just movies that make you say good for her.
Yeah, I'm sure that's a letterbox. It's got to be a letterbox.
It has to be.
Yeah.
But what did you think in spoilers of Send Help?
Yeah, I think so. The bits that I was referring to previously, in terms of the one, I feel like they telegraphed to maybe a little too much. And again, I'm not going to say like, oh, I knew exactly where that was going and specifically, but the idea that it's like, oh, the rocks past the rocks that form the X, like don't go past there because there's dangerous animals or whatever. I was like,
Poison.
okay, well, there's obviously something she's discovered that she doesn't want him to see. And he has a broken leg, so he's not going to be able to get there anyway. But I was like, it's not that she's worried about or that there's like dangerous terrain. It's something she's found that she doesn't want him to know about. Did not know that it was a super bougie house and that she had been going in there, figured out the passcode and was like, eating sushi or whatever. And like, that she was, being able to live it up while he was, basically stranded. So that was the totality of that payoff was great. I just thought that was maybe a little too on the nose. I guess that's a pretty small nitpick.
I feel so dumb because I didn't expect that at all. I just thought I just bought into it like, oh yeah, that's all full of poisonous stuff. I mean, she'll probably poison him or something. I didn't even think about that. So
well,
like,
again, I did not know that it was going to be the house and that whole thing, and that boats had been shipping in food or whatever. And I think that they say the family was away. It was like a super nice
it was like
vacation
a tech billionaire
or
something.
Which I think they said that it was like the Gulf of Thailand, I think. So I assume it's probably like anyway.
Sure.
I assume it was just like a vacation home that was just no one was there. the whole thing of like the fiance returning, which I know is just like a big part of the movie. I mean, it's just like a big part of it. But I was just like, okay, like, because I knew it was going to be important. I kind of knew where we were going, and she was going to end up like killing her, you know, indirectly, and then the guide too, and all that. I just sort of felt like it was just sort of, I just didn't, even in this movie, I'm just like, that they're really going to go across to all these, like, there's got to be, if it is Thailand or wherever it is, like, there's got to be a ton of islands that they would be able to just like go on one and be able to like look around the island. I know that Linda, Rachel McAdams' character, is there and she sees her and everything. And so she can't, and they do foreshadow that a bit, where she sees a boat and decides not to signal it. I just thought the fiance stuff, again, it plays through, like it plays in terms of the nastiness, in terms of like the logic of all of that. Like it plays, but that was just one where I was just like, okay, whatever. and the guy, like he wouldn't trust, there's no reason for him to trust Linda. There's
no reason for him not to go back to the boat
just
and
go
just
back.
radio.
Exactly. and can call for more help and all. Like just stuff like that. That was the one sort of contrivance that I was like, I know we're doing this and this is just where we're going. I even figured that, he'd find the ring and those sort of like things and know that she was there. And then Rachel McAdams having a guilty conscience, which is feeds into the nightmare that you talked about with like the zombie jump scare, which again is like has to be Sam Raimi. Like, it makes no, I mean, quote unquote sense. I mean, not that it would have to make sense. It's a nightmare, but it's just such a funny like he can't help himself sort of moment. Anyway, just the whole fiance subplot, I just felt like was just too contrived for me. So it kind of hurt things ultimately, because it does matter, of course, like it factors into the rest of the story. But I didn't have necessarily a problem with that. However, I kind of felt like the whole like climbing up the cliff and like walking around the cliff thing, like that felt a little bit, it felt a little bit too big for the movie, because it is relatively grounded in terms of the survival aspect of it. And like, I felt like it was a little bit of a stretch to like have Dylan O'Brien follow her, like have her guide him there. It's like, that's like an incredibly dangerous thing. Like even if you're able-bodied, it seemed like that would be like, you probably would want to go another way. I never really got why they had to go that far up for only that stretch either. I don't know exactly the topography of the island.
No.
And some of the effects up there are like not my favorite.
In the boar hunting thing, I thought was like, that was a lot of fun. That was awesome. Like the visual effects of it were a little bit wonky.
Sure.
But I forgave that because it was just such a fun moment in the movie, and it has the great payoff that's in the trailer of her telling him covered in blood, being like, I've tried hunting for the first time and I think I like it. It's just really, really satisfying.
Yeah, she sells those lines so well. That one that's in the trailer, it's like the linchpin of all of the advertising for this. We're not in the office anymore, Bradley. I mean, that's just such. She just like, it's just perfect. Like I can't imagine anyone else saying it quite like that. So she's terrific. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I think people might see this movie. I mean, I suppose I did really. Rachel McAdams' performance in this movie, and it's like pretty different than a lot of the stuff that she's done. And I love that, again, she just goes into the whole like Sam Raimi-ness of all of this. And I think I mentioned the movie Red Eye in my blurb, which I mentioned because she has she's bleeding from her eye at one point in this movie, and there is a plane.
God, that was so fun.
And there's a plane, not a plane crash in that movie, but it's some of it's set on a plane. So she's been like in thrillers before and everything, but again, like not one like this where she's like, as of course, as a Sam Raimi movie, blood and guts and all sorts of things, kind of as part of the wardrobe.
Yes. And with the another quick tangent about press junkets and stuff, I just love that there's like a clip somewhere of Dylan O'Brien. I think maybe he's on a talk show. I'm not sure, but he was talking about how like weirdly like sweet and down to earth Rachel McAdams is, and he says something to the effect of like, yeah, I was talking to her on set one day and she was like, I asked her a question about like something work related, and she's like, yeah, I was in this one movie a long time ago where like this really famous kissing scene. And he's like, you mean The Notebook?
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know, that was just a charming anecdote. But
MTV Movie Award Best Kiss winner, The Notebook.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice pull. But yeah, there was a point in the movie that I thought was going to be the turning point. I loved the kind of misdirect of it, was the implied castration scene.
Yeah.
That was so like, it made me squirm quite a bit.
Yeah.
Because I thought like the movie got to me to a point where I was like, is she really doing this? Like to the credit of the movie and Sam Raimi and everything, it's like, I didn't know if she was really doing it or not. And it's just really, really just like that's such a great like horror moment in the movie.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I referenced Hard Candy in my review specifically for that scene because similarly, I was like, I don't know if she's actually going to do it or not, and that's the sort of course, psychological kind of terror that comes in for both those movies. And they're different movies in some extent, but they both sell it, and at that point, I was like, I don't know, like, he's in bad shape either way, because he's either going to be scared out of his mind or, he's going to be, without the boys. So, it was a good scene. And again, I mean, that was the thing with this is like, Sam Raimi, I typically think, associate kind of with horror a lot because of the Evil Dead trilogy. And I mean, I guess trying to think of like, I feel like there's horror elements in a lot of his movies. I mean, like The Gift sort of has supernatural horror to it. There's that scene in Spider-Man 2 that with the arms, the surgery scene, like that's out of a horror movie. So I feel like he has that Drag Me to Hell, which we had talked about before. This like definitely rides that line between horror, but it's definitely like psychological no matter what, whether it's a thriller or horror. And they both just do such a wonderful job of just trying to outsmart one another within their own sort of worldview, which for Dylan O'Brien's character is he's constantly undermining her and underestimating her, and her worldview is, I don't want to go back to the mainland. I don't want to go back to where life is awful. Like, I want to make a new life here with my Ken Barbie doll, and I can change him. I mean, that's sort of implied what I just said, but like, she wants to believe it, I think. And it's such an interesting character dynamic for her, like between the two of them, because I do get the sense that she does want to stay there to, like, even just to preserve that power dynamic that she has over him, that new power dynamic. And seeing it play out in the way that it does, as in them just like that fight scene with them, like it was brutal. Just in the best way. But it all coming to a head in the finale with her and him and the standoff in the house. And finally, at that final moment, he's finally picking up that like, oh, I should play along with it to try to get her to, lower her defenses or whatever. And it doesn't end well for him. What did you think of the end there, where she kills him and takes over as CEO? Unrelated, if you can believe it or not, to Send Help. We've been watching a lot of Survivor the past, and off, I'd say the past like 5-6 months. So
Okay.
this extends past send help, but that moment to me felt like someone making. They always talk about like a big move, after like the merge. I don't need to get into Survivor. I'm going to sound like
Sure.
Linda Little after too long here. But that to me felt like his kind of big move, like basically his like kind of final plea, trying to tap into the like, oh, maybe she's like, we can like make this, like we can play house here or something, like we can, be boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever she wants, just so we can avoid, dying. So yeah, I again, that's that fun thing of where they're really playing with sympathies for both the characters. Like I kind of, at a certain point, I did feel bad for him because I'm like, she is Linda Looney. Like she's off the, she's like off the rocker at this point. She's gone too far. And, she is, manipulating this situation past what it really should be. And she's kind of, it's kind of hard to feel bad for her at this point, knowing that she could have called for help a long time ago. Right. She could have done all of these other things and actively chose not to. So I didn't really know what I wanted from the resolution at that point. And so that was, definitely a fun moment where it was all up in the air. And then, of course, she sees the missing horn and she's smart. She's smart.
Yeah.
So she's able to find her way through that. But it was, it did. It had me guess until the end. And to the point where I'm like, I don't know if they're both going to come back. I don't know if it's going to be her alone. I don't know if it's going to be him alone. Like, is it, have we gone that far where he's now the good guy? But I think the resolution of her coming back and being the hero CEO and boss babe, works. She got her ending, hard earned.
Oh,
all of that.
And like, not to get too analytical about it or anything, because I don't know if it's necessarily like the social commentary that it's meant to be, but like, it just feels like the overall theme of the movie, the overall like intent of the movie is like, oh, in order to be one of these asshole CEOs of a major corporation and everything, you have to be like a cutthroat piece of shit, basically. Right. And this is her learning that, her psychosis going into that is what leads her to be able to actually ascend in the business world. Whereas her being the kind of meek and supplicant employee that she was previous to that thing got her screwed over for promotions and everything and guided along. So, passed over.
And there's definitely this gender element to it too. Like it's no, of course, like it's very obvious that it's a boys club, and it's guys even like Preston or something who's going to be up for her job or got her job or something. It's like total preppy, rich, obvious, like So again, I do think there's some some commentary there about like the glass ceiling. That if you want to shatter that glass ceiling, you got to like stab the boar in the eyes with the shards of glass. That's the only way you're breaking through to the top. So again, like Good Luck Have No Night, like some of the commentary, it's like it's not meant to be like this big like flashing sign stuff. It's all it's it is subtext, which I think is kind of where it works best. And so that's the spirit with which I kind of like took all of that in this movie too. And by the end of it, again, she definitely does some bad stuff. I can't say I agree with all of her actions, but you get to a point where both of them are bad. So you're just kind of like, well, if one of them has to win, it's one of them. So,
Yeah.
So,
at some point, you do have to kind of look at reality and say, yes, she did girl boss a little too close to the sun, but she still came out on top. So there's that.
That's right. I forget which Taylor Swift song that's from, but...
canceled. I think the only one that I know. I think so. Yeah.
That's amazing.
I just know that just from TikTok, and all of the ridicule that people have, pointed at her for that. But anyway,
what would it be like if Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce were trapped on a desert island? What do you think about that, 20th Century Studios?
Right?
Pay me Sam Raimi money. Come on, man.
And I get a finder's fee too.
That's right. Yeah. This is recorded proof. You get 50. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Do we have anything else to say about Send Help? in spoilers?
I don't think so. No. Again, this is the so it's
either.
weird. Like when I saw Send Help, I think maybe a couple of weeks after this, and I reviewed them. I guess a couple weeks apart or something. But it's funny to me that these two. I mean, they are different movies, but I think this to me is like, again, like to a degree, kind of like veteran filmmakers that both have like their own kind of styles, kind of returning to form and just having fun. And I mean, I'd say much of that is you got.
Mm-hmm. And I love that correlation that you drew between them, because I always like, since we do two reviews an episode and everything, I like finding those little like nuggets of similarities between the two movies. And like this week I was like, I don't really know. I mean, they're both kind of genre movies, but I don't really know. And like you hit the nail on the head. That's a really good observation and everything. I don't know what the correlation will be for the next episode.
Don't worry about that. That's next episode's problem to worry about. We were also, I think, going to do at one point Mercy, but I'm glad. I'm glad we were both spared that.
Oh my God, me too.
Mercy,
I on Patreon I have my immediate reaction up, and like I think I managed to eke out like 15 minutes of conversation about it. And like even then, it was like that was a stretch.
Yeah, I'm sure we would have found some stuff to talk. But I mean, it's much worse than these two movies. Absolutely.
So. Yeah. Well, I think that should just about do it for our spoiler review of Send Help. Once again, Brent, what did you rate it on Letterboxd, and where can people find you online and everything?
I gave it 3.5 out of 5. Yeah, nice. Another. If you've been waiting for a while for like a fun Sam Raimi movie, check this one out in theaters if you can, or rental probably later this month. God knows, it's like so freaking fast. But definitely a good one. I'm Awake in the Dark on Letterboxd, and awakeinthedark.com is all my reviews and podcasts and all that stuff. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Blue Sky, Threads, and Instagram. I only post there once a week, which is like geriatric, because Instagram, if you're not posting like several times a day, they're like, who are you?
Just social media in general is just such a bleak affair for the things that we do on the internet. I also rated it 3.5 stars on Letterboxd. You can follow me at Obsessive Viewer and everything. Also, I forgot to mention at the top of the show, you can follow the Indiana Film Journalists Association on Letterboxd at letterboxd.com/IndyFJA, where we post links to members' reviews of movies. So check that out. Give a follow on Letterboxd at IndyFJA. I don't think we're going to do a potpourri section, but that should do it for this week this episode of the Obsessive Viewer podcast. Brent, thank you so much once again for your time this Sunday afternoon, evening. That's it. I'll go ahead and just read off the little thing that I have at the end. That's it for this week's episode of The Obsessive Viewer. As always, thank you so much for listening, and make sure to follow the show on social media and subscribe to the podcast on your preferred podcast app. And also check out Obsessive Viewer Podcast's other shows, Tower Junkies, a Stephen King podcast hosted by Tiny and myself, which should have a new episode out this week with my friend Kim C., who just finished her first journey to the Dark Tower. And we're just going to kind of have a long just distillation of the Dark Tower series and spoilers, as kind of just her talking through her experience reading it for the first time, and me just geeking out over the Stephen King storytelling power of the Dark Tower series. And also check out Anthology, the Twilight Zone and Classic Sci-Fi podcast hosted by me, which should be coming back very soon. I really hope I can get around to it, but it's been a long time coming, but I'm going to finally resume season 4 of the Twilight Zone and get back to reviewing the last couple of seasons of Black Mirror as well. That is over at anthologypod.com. Next time on the show, the plan is to probably review Wuthering Heights, and then the secondary review is going to be for The Strangers Chapter 3, so look forward to that. Until then, thank you guys so much for listening and for watching on YouTube, and I'll see you in the next episode.
Tell me, are you obsessively.